So it is 4:30, so we are going to go ahead and start. And thank you to all of you who were here ahead of time. And welcome. My name is Annette Mills, and on behalf of the Corvallis Sustainability Coalition, I would like to welcome you to this quarterly gathering. It's just great to see so many familiar faces and some new faces as well. The Sustainability Coalition was launched 17 years ago in 2007. One of our primary purposes is to encourage communication and collaboration among organizations and individuals in Corvallis and Benton County who are dedicated to creating a sustainable community. We are a network of 370 partner organizations, businesses, nonprofits, educational institutions, faith communities, and government entities. Our partner organizations represent a wide diversity of people and interests. What we have in common is our mission to promote an ecologically, socially, and economically healthy city and county. Now, it costs nothing to join the coalition. We want to be as inclusive as possible. We don't charge a membership fee, but every time we have a quarterly gathering, there are some costs involved. And so today's quarterly gathering is made possible thanks to the generosity of two of our partner organizations, Corvallis Waldorf School, which is our food sponsor, and Friends of the Corvallis Benton County Library, which is our facility sponsor. So would representatives of those organizations please stand? I know Sally Shaw is here from Friends of the Library. Thank you, Sally. All right, I don't think anybody's here right now from Waldorf. I also want to acknowledge Green Girl for loaning us reusable servingware, First Alternative Co-op's staff for preparing and serving today's amazing food. Yes, absolutely. And also the volunteers who helped set up today's event. We would also like to recognize our engaged partners. Now, these are individuals and partner organizations that have made a donation of $250 or more to the Coalition's General Fund or our endowment fund during the past year. We rely very heavily on the generosity of our engaged partners. These are community members who believe that the work we're doing matters, that we're helping in a significant way to make our community more livable and more resilient. Many of our engaged partners donate in monthly installments, making it possible to become an engaged partner for as little as $21 a month. Their generous annual contributions to our general fund help us to pay for our basic operating expenses and to support the many projects of our 12 action teams. And those who have donated toward our endowment fund are dedicated to the long-term health and viability of the Sustainability Coalition. We are very grateful for the support of all of our engaged partners. We also want to thank our monthly donors. Monthly donations are especially important to us because they provide the coalition with a reliable funding stream. Monthly donations currently range from $5 a month to $150 a month, and all of these gifts contribute to the creation of a sustainable community. Please consider what a sustainable community means to you, a community that values environmental quality, social equity, and economic vitality. We currently have 120 monthly donors, and we hope that if you're not already a monthly donor, you'll consider becoming the 121st monthly donor. There are donation forms on the back table and on the back counter, and we encourage you to pick one up on your way out. Another way you can contribute is through the bottle drop program. Simply collect your aluminum cans and glass bottles, place them in a pre-labeled blue bag, and drop it off at the Corvallis Bottle Drop location on 9th Street. Marge Stevens, go ahead and stand up, Marge. Marge Stevens is our bottle drop coordinator, and she'll have blue bags at the door. So please pick one up on your way out. Thank you, Marge, for taking care of that. However you choose to support the Sustainability Coalition, whatever amount you are able to give, we are very grateful for your gifts. So today is our 41st quarterly gathering, and here's what we will be doing during the next hour and a half together. We'll start with a land acknowledgement, then we'll have some brief introductions. We'll take some time for some networking, and then the bulk of our time together will be hearing from our 4 presenters who are listed here. And then at the end, we will take some time for some announcements of upcoming events. So living more sustainably means envisioning the world that we would like to see and taking action toward that vision in the present. But living sustainably also requires us to think holistically and long-term, not just looking forward to the future, but recognizing on whose ancestral lands we reside. And so we'd like to acknowledge and honor that we reside in Champinafu, the ancestral area of the Ampinafu Kalapuya people, who have stewarded this land throughout hundreds of generations. Today, Kalapuya people are members of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde and Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians Community of Oregon. Colonization has shaped the lives of everyone in this room. We take this opportunity to acknowledge both the people whose lands were taken and the actions of many of our ancestors who prevented Indigenous people from carrying out the sustainable practices of their culture. We'd like to express our desire to be part of the much needed process of learning about our landcestry and repairing relationships with Kalapuya people, Champinafu land, and Champinafu waters. Beyond merely acknowledging this need, it's important that we demonstrate reciprocity. The coalition has been one of multiple partners to collaborate with the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, helping to produce the annual Champinafu series, which provides a forum for Kalapuya people to tell the stories of their culture. Get out your calendars. The 2024 series will launch on Wednesday evening, October 9th, with a live program at the new Prax Performing Arts Center over at OSU in Dietrich Concert Hall. And the program is titled Sha-Ti-Ti Boom Boom, which means singing and drums. And we are very excited about this special event. So we'll be publicizing it through our main Google group. And if you're not already a member of that group, we strongly encourage you to go to our website and join the Google group. Another way we're showing reciprocity is by planting native plant species throughout Corvallis that are culturally relevant to the Kalapuya people. And you see a field of camas in this photo. Camas is one of the first foods of the Kalapuya people. And if you go on 11th Street near Monroe, right by the Methodist Church, there's an amazing garden of camas right there. It's really something to see. Right. So we would like to begin the networking part of our program with some introductions. Let's see who's here today. How many of you are attending a quarterly gathering for the first time? Do we have some new folks? Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Thanks for being here. Yeah. How many of you serve on a coalition action team or committee? All right. Thank you. And how many of you represent one of the coalition's partner organizations? All right. Well, let's take a moment to find out which organizations are represented here today. If you are the official representative to the coalition for your organization, please stand now and remain standing. And please tell us the name of the organization you present, and please speak up so everyone can hear you. And I will start. Represent the League of Women Voters of Corvallis.
I represent 10 Rivers Food Web. Sorry, I represent Corvallis Housing First, Lindsay Stallard.
Should we go back over here, Brian? Or Kate, I'm sorry.
Kate Hickok Media Productions and Yuba Latte Women's Fund.
Brian Lee, Interfaith Climate Justice Committee.
Jenny Looker, Unity Shelter. Aaliyah Hass Holcomb, Corvallis Daytime Drop-In Center.
You're,
Larry Weymouth, 350 Corvallis.
Cutting Wild East Bakery.
Earl Christensen, G. Christensen Construction.
Hi, Marge Stevens from United Methodist Church.
Mike Alstein, I represent Community Correspondence for Democracy and Socialism.
Sheila O'Keefe, South Corvallis Food Bank.
Christy Urban, Seats for the Soul.
John Polanski, I represent two organizations, Town and Country Realty and Jammin' for the Hungry. We're resuming operations to make jam for the local people.
great. Thank you.
Suzanne Ortiz, Audubon Society of Corvallis.
Scott Tibbod, City of Corvallis.
Sally Shaw, Friends of the Corvallis Benton County Library.
Dave Eckert, Mary's Peak Alliance of Ephrata.
Sharon Thornberry, Philomath Community Services.
Peter Greenberg, I represent the Lollipop Guild.
Nina Dominici, I represent the Marys River Watershed Council.
Dr. Susan Slavsky, I represent 500 Women Scientists.
Boris Farasawa, First Alternative Co-op.
Is that everybody? Hope we didn't miss anybody. All right. Thank you all so much for representing your organizations and keeping your members updated on what the coalition is doing. So, since one of the coalition's primary reasons for being is to foster more communication and collaboration, we're going to take some time right now for some communication as part of this gathering. So we're going to take a few minutes to just talk with each other. So when I give you the sign, please feel free to get up, walk around, or if you want to stay where you are, you can talk to the people next to you, behind you, whatever. But please use this time to talk to someone that you don't already know, somebody that you're meeting for the first time. So you'll have about 5 minutes. So let's get started. So if you're just coming in and you need a place to sit, look for a raised hand and you'll find a spot. All right, as you're making your way back, I would like to encourage you to join us in doing our part to address the climate crisis. As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said, our world needs climate action on all fronts, everything, everywhere, all at once. And one of the most significant things we can do as individuals is to make our homes and our workplaces as energy efficient as possible. The Shift Together campaign that we launched last year was designed to do just that. The mission of the campaign is to educate, connect, and support all community members with resources and funding as we shift to energy efficiency and renewable energy in our work and living spaces. Right now, for both homes and workplaces, there are some amazing incentives, both federal and state incentives and rebates that can help us fund the retrofits that we need to make, whether for heating and cooling, appliances, or the installation of solar panels. Our Shift Together team offers home energy assessments in 2 formats, a short in-home assessment and a personalized 2-hour home retrofit clinic. We also offer help for workplaces through our Saving Green program. Our staff and volunteers are excited to hold your hand, to walk you through the process, finding out what the specific efficiency needs are for your home or workplace, and then guiding you toward the funding that can help you meet those needs. So please let us know if you'd like help with energy efficiency and renewables for your home, your workplace, or both. So Bree and Christy, who are part of our Shift Together team, are going to be passing out clipboards that give you an opportunity to let us know if you would like help. We just need your name, your email address, and check marks wherever they fit. And when we say workplace, That can mean a business, nonprofit, school, or faith community. So it's really important for all of us to shift together toward a more livable future by doing what we can in our own lives and spheres of influence. So thank you all for the efforts you're making to address the climate crisis. And now we're going to move into the presentation part of our program. People often mistakenly think about sustainability only in environmental terms. And although protecting and restoring our life support system, our water, our soil, and our air is absolutely critical to sustainability, the social and economic aspects are also essential. Our first presenter is Andrea Myrie, who represents Corvallis Housing First. And the social aspect of sustainability is about meeting people's basic needs. And as you'll hear, Corvallis Housing First is especially focused on this part of creating a sustainable community. So please welcome Andrea to the podium.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna turn on my timer because we get 15 minutes. I'm a little bit nervous. I think it's because I just flew in from the East Coast yesterday and I'm so tired. And I'm like, so if I just kind of go during the presentation, just wake me up. So if you are not familiar with Corvallis Housing First, we have been around since 2008. I believe one of our founding members is in the audience today. We previously ran the cold weather men's shelter in the community and did some other projects. We've owned housing for people that have experienced homelessness for quite a while. We have shifted our mission and our name a little bit a few years ago to really focus on housing because we just kept seeing people coming through the men's shelter when we were running the men's shelter that needed, they would come every year and they just needed a permanent place to be and they needed help to stay there. So that's really been our focus in the last probably 7 or 8 years on providing housing using a housing first model. So let's see. So again, what does CHF do? We provide low barrier supportive housing as well as housing case management to people who have experienced homelessness. And our main goal is to get people into housing and to keep them there. So a lot of folks that experience homelessness, especially chronic homelessness, need support to stay in housing. Like they need somebody to call if there's an issue with their lease, like they get a violation or something, or they are having trouble paying their rent, or they're having trouble figuring out how to manage their space. Oftentimes, people that have experienced chronic homelessness also experience a disabling condition. Lots of people who have been chronically homeless have mental health, physical health challenges, traumatic brain injuries. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, there's quite a few people among us that just need help to stay in housing and who have experienced the trauma of homelessness and need a place to be. So this is one of our apartment complexes, Partners Place, and one of our residents. And we also own a fourplex off of Sycamore where we have people that we serve. And so who do we serve? So again, we focus on serving folks that have a history of homelessness, have a history of trauma, have challenges, but an incredible amount of resilience. Like I'm always amazed at how much our residents have been through, how much our clients have been through, and how cheerful and grateful and fun they are to be around despite some of their stories. The average age of the people that we serve are usually about late 40s, early 50s. We have a pretty even split of men and women. We serve a few families where one of the parents has experienced chronic homelessness, but otherwise our focus is usually individuals. So how do we do it? So we have right now 40 units of our own housing where we and a wait list for that housing. So our focus is usually on people that are living in shelter, transitional housing, that we've been working with in case management to get them into our units. They usually come with a Section 8 voucher or some way to support themselves, and because we still charge rent. And I'll explain why that's a big deal in a little bit. But we provide housing case management and outreach to folks. Unity Shelter is a huge partner of ours. So we have staff who are at Unity Shelter locations, working with individuals who are interested in getting into housing. And then once they're in our housing, we provide supportive services. And we also have started a new program where we support people in community-based housing. So we help them use their Section 8 voucher to get into an apartment that's appropriate for them. And then we continue to follow them. So we make sure that they stay there. So what does housing people, this is the main thing I wanted to talk to you all about. What does housing people who have been homeless have to do with sustainability? So this is a very personal thing to me because when I first moved to Corvallis 20 some years ago, I actually worked for the Corvallis Environmental Center. I used to direct the Avery House Nature Center. I was really driven to have a career in environmental studies or environmental activism, to be a part of a nonprofit that was doing watershed council work, things like that. That's what I went to graduate school for. As I did this and I had kids and I was thrown into a situation myself where I felt really vulnerable, and I got a job working at an organization that provides social services called Strengthening Rural Families. And and it was a new subject to me, but the more I did that work, the more I realized, unless we figure out how to take care of each other in a way that's sustainable, we can't take care of our environment. And that is sort of what I have determined for myself anyway, as being a really important thing, and something that drives me and my work that I do now. The toll of homelessness takes on humans is huge. We are not meant, I'm an anthropologist, or I have an anthropology background. So I've studied humans, and humans aren't meant necessarily to live outside. We're not really well equipped for that. And it causes lots of health problems and lots of mental health issues when we don't have a safe place to be. It promotes equity. So as we know that people of color and disadvantaged population or underserved populations experience homelessness at a much higher rate than others. So for example, in our community, I think the Native American population is like 1 or 2, 3%. It's relatively small. Among the homeless population, it's well over 10%. So that's just an example. So if we are providing housing for people or making sure that people are housed, we are promoting equity. Housing people greatly reduces the environmental impacts of homelessness. So the other thing that I have done in my work is I helped start the SORT street outreach team. And, we see people in tents, living on the streets and next to rivers in sensitive areas all the time. And frankly, if I didn't have a home and I had to live somewhere outside in our community, that's where I would pick too, because it's comforting to be in a beautiful natural space when you are dealing with day-to-day survival. And I've seen a lot of the impacts that have been caused by people living on the street, and it's not because they want to, they want to do damage. It's because anybody that lives outside, we're going to take up space. We're going to produce waste. We're going to need things in order to live day to day. And so if you're providing spaces for people where they don't have to make those decisions and live in spaces that might be sensitive, that's a really good thing to do. It increases livability for all in our community. So we've talked about livability in our community before. I think that when everyone is housed, everyone has a better experience living in our community. And then also the type of housing that we're providing promotes urban density and accessibility and efficient housing. So we own a property that's right in the middle of Greek Row near campus that used to be known as the Veggie House. And so some of you may know where that was. But it's a really efficient way of housing a bunch of folks who want to live in community, not always, it's not perfect, but, it really benefits people to live in with shared facilities. And then, like I said, until we take good care of each other, we cannot take good care of our environment. And I have like 5 minutes left, and I want to tell you about this, our big project. So if you haven't heard about it already, the motel property that we bought in Southtown that used to be known as the Budget Inn, we purchased that property through a project called Project Turnkey. It was money available through the state to purchase motels and hotels. We bought that property thinking that we would operate it as non-congregate shelter for a time and then turn that spot into supportive or like permanent housing. And we opened with Unity Shelter, operating the shelter, and it's really made a great impact on the community. But almost from the very beginning of that we started in that operation, we recognized that the condition of the buildings was not great. To turn those units into housing was going to cost a lot of money and not necessarily serve the population very well. So we had an opportunity to apply for federal and state appropriations. And we just knew like we were going to have to raise a bunch of money to do better, to offer better spaces for people. So we applied, we got some seed money of about $8 million. And so this site will have, it's 47 apartments, supportive housing apartments with rental support with each unit. So it comes with rent support. It comes with $10,000 of services, funding per door. I can't tell you what a huge thing that is because there really isn't many ways to support the supportive services part of keeping people in housing. If you want to know more about what supportive housing is, it's an evidence-based model. People do it all over the country. There's a flyer about it and facts about it on the back table. Also, we are trying really hard to make our building as sustainable as possible. So we will be, it's not LEED certified, it's something else. And Earth Advantage, thank you. Earth Advantage certified. We have plans to have solar on the building and to also have native plants to try to recognize that we're near the confluence of the Willamette and the Marys and where we are, and that land acknowledgement piece is really important. There'll be a community center or a community building with a kitchen and a kind of a lounge area for people living on site, and then an office building on the front that will have not just office space for our staff, but also shared space where partners can come in and work with people on site. So like senior disability services, the daytime drop-in centers, Project Help program to help people with employment. We'll have a small medical clinic space there for medical providers to meet with folks. And we already know, because we've been serving these folks at 3rd Street Commons, that we're going to have a lot of people who are going to have accessibility issues, are going to have major health issues, and really this is going to be the best option for them for getting into housing. Because we also have lower barriers, like if people have criminal backgrounds and things, we will consider that and not just, reject people like a lot of property management companies do. And then also the 100% of the site will be accessible. So we have elevators, we have outside walkways, we have ways the apartments themselves will be accessible. So that's really important because so many of our folks have accessibility challenges. It's just super exciting. I can't even tell you. It's so great. So we're going to break ground. We've almost got all the money. We've just got a couple million left to raise. A couple million. I mean, come on. But we're really confident that we're gonna finish it out. We have plans to close the current site this summer, which is kind of sad because there's a community there and we've served a ton of people. And so we need another motel. So if you want to buy us another motel, especially Unity would be interested in that, I think. So, and then starting construction this fall. And also, please come if you want to know more and you want to be involved. Come to our breakfast fundraiser on May 31st at the Community Center Ballroom. There's a thing there that you can scan to register. We'd love to see you there, and you can hear more about our plans.
We have time for maybe one question.
Maybe one question. Does anybody have a question?
What about their pets?
Pets are, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, not as many pets as you want, but you know, servicing our as emotional support service animals are
Okay.
fine.
Andrea, thank you so much. Oh, Alice, you had a question?
Yes, I loved working there, and it's very sad to know that it's closing. I'm really concerned that we will have space for respite care patients because they're such a huge part of the homeless population. 59% are medically fragile. So I'm hoping that we can work out something, and
Sounds like you need to talk.
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to talk.
All right, all right. Thank you, Andrea. All right, thank you so much. That's pretty exciting stuff you shared with us, Andrea. We'll look forward to seeing it evolve. Our next presenter is Kate Dillon, who represents one of the coalition's newest partner organizations, 1972 Vintage and Gifts, downtown on Madison. Kate is going to tell us a little bit about her business and what she's doing to help create a sustainable community environmentally, socially, and economically. Please give Kate a warm welcome.
Hello. Oh, here we go. All right. So yes, my name is Kate Dillon, and I have this little vintage shop that's down on Madison. We've been there about a year and a half. Most of the people who shop with us are high schoolers, college age. We have a lot of mostly like 80s through early 2000s vintage trendy attire. So it's a little blurry up there, but a show of hands, who can relate if you feel like you have too much stuff? Me too. I recently moved into my parents' old house, and this summer will be the third summer of like multiple garage sales, just cleaning out and trying to figure out where things go when we have too many things that we don't use at our house is part of what I love the most about our shop, about having a vintage store, about resale in general. I fell in love with a sustainable revolving closet when I worked at Second Glance. I worked there for 11 years and learned everything I know from Nancy and Jessica there. Yeah, they've been serving this community in a sustainable closet fashion for 40 years, I think now. And so since we all have kind of this, not all of us, you didn't all raise your hands, but some of us with this problem of too much stuff, this is what I hope to do at our shop, especially with some of the younger generations that are, you know, kind of at this peak of trying on new styles, wanting to wear a lot of different clothes, having tons of different outfit options for different events. I like to educate. I kind of see our shop as a source of education and to show people, which is why it was important for me to have a brick and mortar. I wanted to show people in a tangible way, you can be trendy and you don't have to shop at Forever 21 or Shein or H&M. And it's actually going to be better for your budget. There's just so many ways that it's healthy for our environment and for our own finances. And so changing minds about a few things is something I hope to do through daily conversations I get to have with people. We actually don't need that many items in our closet to be able to be really fashionable. There's this concept, like Marie Kondo kind of championed the capsule closet. having some really well-made pieces that are good quality, timeless, not, an entire closet or two full of little pieces. So I try to carry those closet staples and help people get an idea of, well, here's this cute tank top, but you could wear it with that skirt you have on. You could wear it with blue jeans I know you have at home. You could put it under a dress. You could throw it on top of a swimsuit. So that's what we carry in the shop, is a lot of good staple pieces. A lot of people do have the opinion that used clothing is gross, or it's just really hard to find because not everyone has the time to go to the bins in Salem or Portland or the thrift shop and spend quite a bit of time like looking for something that will actually be cute and trendy, doesn't have holes or stains, and will fit your body type. And so we kind of see ourselves as that middle person. We've curated all sizes, something that fits like what is stylish really in the moment. And we put that out in the shop. I clean everything and steam everything before it goes out. And so just even changing that concept of used clothing being like stinky or anything like that, which was totally like my mom's opinion. When I started thrifting, she was like, that's gross. Why would you do that? But she came around though. So a lot of the things we carry also are going to be like all natural fibers, a lot of cotton. Cotton is my favorite. It's easy to mend. It's easy to clean. It's comfortable in all seasons. It's great for layering. It's great, just alone in the summer. So I try to carry things that will stay in a closet for a really long time, that somebody's not just going to wear once or twice and then get a hole and, send it on its way to its next stop, whether that's the trash or a thrift shop. So yeah, paying attention to like the quality of what we have is important to me. Changing habits. A lot of people are quick to donate things regardless of their condition, not really knowing that the thrift shops themselves, they can't sell something if it's in a super poor condition. And so actually only 50% of the textiles that we donate end up for sale in that shop. A lot of it, about 20 to 40%, is exported overseas. And I'll show you a picture in a little bit of what that is beginning to look like in other countries, where we, solely by our donation efforts, are putting this entire new scale of garbage on beaches and in landfills in other countries. It's a little bit out of sight, out of mind. So the cool thing about that is all these new companies are popping up, like companies that are making insulation out of old denim. There is a company down here, these bricks in the corner are made totally out of textile waste. You can build furniture with them. You can build walls with them. Maybe one day houses will be made out of them. There is something that we do at our shop. I have a few college students who I will hire to, like, I have tons of just textile pieces and scraps at my house, but I cannot sew. And so I found some college students who like to work with me that can sew and do this thing called reworking. So the top pair of shorts, that's made from flannels that were just beyond being able to be used. And so put those flannels together to make a pair of flannel shorts. We've got these crew necks that people take anything that's like the same material. So this is cotton, either sweatpants or sweat shorts or sweatshirts that they've made an entirely new item out of. That's my favorite thing that we carry for sure at the shop, because it's so creative. It's all one of one, really unique items. But yeah, there's so many things you can do to have a sustainable closet. There's really good sustainable brands out there as well. There's closet rental situations that are going on online. So shopping vintage or resale is not the only way to have a sustainable closet, but since it's what I do, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you just get online and Google like what things options for clothes instead of just sending them to the thrift shop. There are more and more and more every day. That's really encouraging. So, changing expectations. We have been tricked a lot of times by fast fashion. This is like a little screenshot of, I think, Shein and how many pieces they roll out like per week just to keep up with like the current trend is kind of alarming, and it's not well made at all. And so, like I said, with my younger generations that shop with us, I am finding things from, the 80s that are super similar to what Shein is selling right here at the moment, except the piece that we've got that's vintage is way better made because it's lasted already a few decades and we still have it. Maybe I had to sew up a little hole on it or put a new button on it, but just being able to show people like, no, you can find these exact items. And instead of spending $7, maybe you're spending $14 at my shop, but it'll last you instead of just wearing it out on a weekend and having a hole. So yeah, what it's doing for your budget is great. And then, the expectation that we can just shop without any repercussions is, I don't know, I don't think it wasn't on my mind for a really long time at least. And I don't think in the pursuit of fashion, there has been a lot of pause to stop and be like, well, what's gonna happen if we keep doing this? And so, yeah, like I said, there's so many ways that textile pollution just over the past, like within the past 10 to 20 years, it's become this big of a problem, like what some of these stats show. It was actually shocking to me that the fashion industry generates as much pollution, just coming in second only to oil and gas. It's kind of a staggering fact. 92 million tons of textile waste are made annually. We already have enough clothing just in the US to clothe the next 6 to 10 generations. There really isn't a need to be making a lot more clothing. And we think about the ocean and the big, plastic island that's floating around. Well, 85% of that is from synthetic clothing fibers. And a lot of that is the stuff that's, so tiny and really doing a lot of the damage. It's getting into our water supplies. We're starting to be made of a lot of plastic, and a lot of that is just from textile manufacturing. So yeah, I do actually get to share those facts like a lot in the shop. Also, somebody comes to check out and I'm like, man, I love this top. You're gonna wear this all the time. You should wear it here and you should, and I just like to dream with people about how they can love an item for a really long time and get to tell them about, the fact that you are contributing to not having this problem become bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's a lot of great information out there it's almost like a trendy thing at the moment to make the reworks. And I'm really thankful for all the people out there doing like really good work. We have so many, probably most of the actual shopping in downtown at this point is like secondhand or vintage clothing, which is it's encouraging.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Victoria has a question.
Do you accept donations, clothing?
Yeah, I do. I mostly buy outright from people. So that's how actually because I don't get outsourcing very much anymore. I have vendors that they go out to like the bins and stuff and they'll find things and bring them to the shop. But me personally, when people just walk into the shop with like a bag of things for me to go through, what I do is I make a cash offer that's 20% of what I'm going to sell something for, or 40% in store credit. And most of the time people take the cash and I get new stock for the store. So I do that all the time.
Show the back of your jacket.
Oh yeah, I love Disney.
So the suggestion was that Kate show the back of her jacket.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun to be creative with clothing too. So we do a lot of chopping up and painting and creating new things.
Other questions?
Any other questions?
The sewing thing.
Do you ever host a repair fair type of thing, or are you ever?
Two. I'm definitely going to. I have a friend that she is like the craftiest person in the world, and we were gonna do a paper making class, but we had to postpone it. So I plan to do all sorts of things like that. I have kits at the shop that I sell that are like patch kits for people. And so I stocked up on a ton of those so that I can host my own class, or just bring scraps of their own, like an old pair of blue jeans they can cut up and use as patches and stuff. So I've had a few events at the shop and I want to do more and more.
Thank you for that question. I have a whole bag sitting in one of our bedrooms that says needs repair. So
Shop, you'll catch me just sitting there like repairing something that I couldn't pass up at the thrift shop, but it was not perfect. So I just fix it up and send it back out into the world.
that's really inspiring. Kate, thank you so much. All right. Our next presenter is Kirsten Miller, who represents another new coalition partner organization, A Tuttle Consults. Kirsten is going to tell us about their primary project, the South Corvallis Food Hub, and how it's addressing the sustainability needs of our community. So please welcome Kirsten to the podium.
Sure, I'll figure it out. Hi, well, sorry, let me figure this out. So first of all, thank you to the coalition for giving me this opportunity to talk about the project. Let's see here. So this is the project team and I'm the project manager, and obviously I'm attached to the Velcro up here. Okay. So the timeline for the project. Back in December of 2021, $550,000 was awarded to Benton County from the state of Oregon to identify gaps in local food and beverage supply systems and create a food hub in South Corvallis by December 31st of 2024. Then past a few years, there were several staffing changes that led to delays. And in November of 2023, a request for proposal to select a consulting team to complete a systems assessment was released. And then in January of this year, Weinsteiger Consulting, and now it's become A Tuttle, signed a contract with the city of Corvallis. Originally, we had until early April to complete the systems assessment and to release the report, which was a very, very tight deadline. Unfortunately, over time, that deadline was modified, and today is actually the day that the report is getting released, and it will be on our website later this evening. So the project scope. As you can see, most of the project has already been complete. We determined the feasibility of the South Corvallis Food Hub. We worked on the inventory of equipment and infrastructure. We created the 3 scenarios and have identified potential operators. What is still remaining is to support the food hub operators to spend down the ARPA funds. And I didn't actually say that with the timeline. So the $550,000 were ARPA dollars coming from the COVID money. So that's the last step of the process, is to support whomever is hired to be the operator, or operators in this case, possibly, to spend down the remaining funds. So what is a food hub? A food hub is a business or organization that actively manages the aggregation, distribution, and marketing of source-identified food products, primarily from local and regional producers, to strengthen their ability to satisfy wholesale, retail, and institutional demand. So we were tasked with creating 3 scenarios: a virtual, small scale, and industrial scale model. And pretty quickly, when we were collecting feedback from the community, we heard that the virtual and the industrial scale were not of interest and they were not viable. So we heavily focused on the small scale operations. So our data sources. We interviewed more than 50 people from the local food system. We collected 781 community survey responses. We did an inventory of available equipment and reviewed studies of existing food hubs and also visited 5 sites. And what we learned was that there was an overwhelming support for a food hub in South Corvallis, and an even stronger support if you just look at the South Corvallis zip code. So what does the community want? They told us that they wanted a food hub that would host a food cart pod, a food hub that would host a farmer's market, and that would help increase local food at existing businesses. Existing and potential small food-based businesses are interested in a food hub that would host a commercial kitchen, that would provide aggregation and distribution services, and provide cold storage space. So as I said, we kind of eliminated the virtual and industrial scale and focused heavily on the small scale. So we looked at a commercial kitchen scenario, a food cart pod scenario, and a wholesale or a warehouse scenario. So for the commercial kitchen, the potential components could be an hourly or long-term rental of a kitchen space. There could be classroom space, small business incubator support, co-packing facility, or light food processing facility. And the benefits are to support new and help existing food businesses grow. And it would also meet one of those local food business top needs that I just shared. A food cart pod scenario, it could be shared indoor or outdoor gathering space, short or long-term food cart pad rental, which is kind of like your home base for your food cart. Shared expenses, including water, electricity, and marketing, and would be a low barrier to entry for businesses, and could also have a small business incubator support. In terms of the benefits, it could also support new and help existing food businesses grow, expand options to purchase food in South Corvallis, having one more location to be able to go and have your lunch or dinner, and also meets community desires. So with the wholesale or the warehouse, sorry, I keep getting stuck. The potential components are dry, cold, and frozen storage rented by shelf by month. There could be single local delivery site for wholesale producers dropping off their goods at one location, streamlined online point of sale for wholesale accounts to access a variety of local food products, collaborative local marketing, and also an opportunity for consumers to buy local food in bulk, right, at wholesale prices. In terms of the benefits, it meets 2 of the local food business needs. It increases the consistency and supply of local food for wholesale purchasers like OSU, the Corvallis School District, and restaurants. It increases wholesale market opportunities for existing farms and producers, and it could support the 25+ farms that hope to expand in the next 5 years. Also increasing availability of wholesale pricing. The overarching themes that we heard from the community was that they wanted this food hub to focus on equity and collaboration. They wanted opportunities for historically disadvantaged groups to own and shape the project. Affordability was another key theme, and food access. So what's next? Between May and July, the city of Corvallis will be releasing a request for proposal to select the food hub operator or operators. It is possible that more than one operator will be selected, doing different projects. And then they will go through the selection process and also sign contracts. And I do want to say that even though I have shared these 3 small scale scenarios, that is just what the consulting team has come up with. It is possible that someone in our community will come forward with a proposal and they will have an entirely different idea. And as long as it can demonstrate fiscal viability and that it is supported by the community, that could be selected as well. These are just the 3 scenarios that we came up with because of the research that we did and that we found through market analysis and fiscal modeling would be fiscally viable. So that's the city. And then in terms of the consulting team, we will continue to send out our biweekly project updates and answer any questions to potential operators and also community questions specifically regarding the report, the systems assessment report that is about to go out. So here is a QR code. If you would like to, if you haven't already been receiving emails from us and you would like to, go ahead and sign up. And that is Eliza's email if you would like to ask any further questions after today that you think of, or if you're interested in getting involved. And any questions for me today? I'm only one on the team, so I will do my best to answer any questions. And if not, we'll make sure that we get them answered after.
Mike Beilstein's hand up first.
Yeah, it seemed in the survey of what the community wanted, one of the things was a farmer's market site.
Mhm.
In the scenarios, the 3 scenarios you presented, that did not come up.
That's true. So there's not that as much fiscal modeling to do in a farmer's market scenario. So it's not something that's here. It is demonstrated and gone into deeper depth in the report that we will publish today. Yeah. So it hasn't dropped off. We did do some modeling. It just wasn't one of the top 3.
Okay.
Do you have a website?
Yes, thank you. I was supposed to say that at the end. It is southcorvallisfoodhub.com. And you can also go there and sign up for any updates if you don't want to bother with the QR code.
Ruby. So I was wondering, I got confused when I went to the food hub meeting at Tunison. And because the people from the city were talking differently than what I understood it to be. So my question is the team that did the survey, are they going forward with trying to present something for the rest of the money?
Is the team that
Is it
consulting team? Oh, got it. So the consulting team is not. There are some people that have been involved in the project that are also considering putting together a proposal. And that is something that the city said was allowed from all the way through the process. So yes, that is possible. There will be some overlap. But there is still very much room to be involved. Yeah.
What are the considerations, if any, in this process for handling food waste generated by a food hub network?
So we did not study that specifically. I think it depends which scenario ends up moving forward, what would make sense for how to handle food waste. So it's kind of an unusual situation to be studying things and giving ideas, and then you have to wait and see if anyone in the community actually wants to do the thing, right? So we kind of only went so far in the research. So yeah, that's a gap and definitely something that would need to be considered in the future.
Typically like a community compost drop off or something.
Right.
So Dana? Yeah, I'm sorry if I missed this somehow, but I am curious, is it possible that there will be sort of a collection of all three, like a wholesale that the farmers, to help the farmers have a spot or freezer or whatever, a cold storage with a food cart hub, outside with, is it possible it might be a, conglomeration of things?
So site-wise, at this time, the simplest answer is probably no.
Probably.
Not all in one location. That does not mean that there still could be 3 different or more than 3 proposals that are presented that could then work in collaboration, that could at different sites be serving different kind of parts of the food system needs. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question that maybe it's a tough one. I don't know.
Try.
Where? I mean, are we talking about a specific location, or is the operator that's selected, or operators, are they expected to go find a piece of land or a property to lease, or what's the story there?
So there are $495,000 remaining of the total pot. And that is not going to buy you a piece of land and build anything. So it can, however, lease something. So the sites that we identified through this study are the Fastenal Building in South Corvallis and the Millrace Center. Both have 2 spaces that could make a lot of sense for the building site. So like for a warehouse. In terms of a farmer's market, that one's a little bit more complicated. And commercial kitchen, that was meant to take an existing commercial kitchen like the fairgrounds and make it better utilized. So that's not actually in South Corvallis. So it kind of depends where the project lands, where the site will be. We did some research into what is available now, pricing, and that's all in the financial modeling that's in this report. It's like 100 pages. But it's not a real clean answer.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. A lot of work in a short time. My goodness. Really appreciate that. All right. Back in 2008, the coalition led a community-wide public process that revolved around 3 town hall meetings attended by hundreds of people. If you were there, raise your hand. Then we still have, quite a few folks. Okay. A lot of those folks served on work groups that developed a sustainability action framework for the Corvallis community. And that document has provided an important framework for action for our coalition's 12 action teams. Our next presenter is Molly Monroe, who has been leading the coalition's Natural Areas Action Team since 2009. Thank you, Molly. Molly is going to tell us about several programs in which everyone in this room is invited to participate. So please welcome Molly to the podium.
Hello. Beautiful rainbow for our rainy spring day. And we're kicking off our Natural Areas Celebration Week, which will be the highlight of this talk. So the vision we came up with for that framework back in 2008 was, I'll read it, our natural features, hillsides, floodplains, streams, wetlands, and other open spaces and natural areas protected and treasured. Basically just bringing attention to all the great things already happening around in our natural areas. So the goal was to, I think Annette kind of hit on this in the beginning, that the collaboration was the key. So bringing these entities together, and the event that came out of that was named the Natural Areas Celebration Week, to make it a week of free events that different organizations can come up with ways to highlight their natural areas. This year is the 15th annual, which is pretty amazing. We've been very fortunate over the years to have very talented people involved, coming and going. This was some artwork that Don Boucher and Lisa Milbank from the Neighborhood Naturalists did back in 2014. They were more involved in the early years, and we've been recycling their artwork. So we got to add new dates to the Meadowlark picture this year. This is a list of our this year's participating partners. It changes a little bit every year depending on who's up for what. So it's a very extensive list. It is many folks that you probably already familiar with. It's just really great to have them all compile together and have these things kind of highlighted in one fell swoop. I think we're missing the environmental center on there because they added something very late, but I didn't make a fuss. I think it's still on here. Yeah, the Bio Blitz is on Wednesday. So every day this week, there'll be an open house with Suzanne. Are you going to be there every day? Yes, she's our go-to for Hesthaven. Open house from 12 to 2 during the week. The Bio Blitz on Wednesday. There's a webinar with Dave on Thursday. And then Saturday, you're going to have to kind of pick and choose because that just turned out to be the Go Gangbusters. A lot of these had already been planned and scheduled, and then we said, hey, everybody let us know, and they just stacked them up. So you do have to register for a couple of these things. You'll have to get on the website. There's a link on the coalition webpage for these, as well as on the partners organizations event pages that you can find for registering for the certain ones. But lots of really great things to highlight our natural areas. The Time Garden Festival is super amazing for both days this weekend. And then Sunday, there's a few things as well for Mother's Day. The second kind of goal of our action team was to, again, collaborate and bring together great things we knew were already happening. The National Wildlife Federation has a backyard habitat program, and we'd been seeing signs pop up everywhere, and we knew, people are getting excited about native plants and taking out lawn and all of these things happening in their gardens. So we went to the effort of registering with the National Wildlife Federation, and we got to go around and tally everybody's yards and the community areas, including the Methodist Church and Hesthaven and the schools doing native gardens, places that are providing habitat for birds and critters in town and out of town, and became the first community habitat to be registered in the state of Oregon. So that was pretty cool. We were pretty excited about that. They're still doing this. This has been a long running program with the National Wildlife Federation. And there's another one now called the Homegrown National Park. And Doug Tallamy is kind of the brains behind that one. And so that one's been really exciting to see the momentum grow there as well. So all good things and really great resources on how to make not just your backyard, but your front yard and even that little strip out in between your sidewalk and the road into pollinator-friendly habitat or bird-friendly yards. And the third thing that our action team has done in partnership with the Community Inclusion Action Team is called the Neighborhood Roots Program. And we identify a part of Corvallis that maybe is lacking in tree cover, or if folks have lost a long long-term tree, big tree in their yard. We're offering free trees for front yards, not just the street trees that the city program has been offering. And ours is limited to native species. So we go around and knock on doors and ask folks if they'd like to participate. And if they say yes, we give them a couple options of two big species, the big leaf maple and the Oregon white oak, and two smaller species of tree, the vine maple and the cascara. And all of these have just amazing benefits to pollinators. They produce seed and cover and cavities and on and on. So native birds and bugs really like these kinds of trees growing in our neighborhoods. And we've done this for 2 years. This will be our third year. Both times in South Corvallis, and identified anywhere from 10 to 12 yards, and drive around and plot these big trees around. And then we have a big community event where Dave does an amazing job bringing students in, and we have the neighbors come for a little party, and my kiddo's back there somewhere digging a hole. So it's just a really neat gathering for folks to come and help somebody put a tree in their yard and kind of feel like you're taking part in some restoration. So there's our Google group email address. And again, the schedule and more information about Natural Areas Celebration Week is all on the Coalition website under the Natural Areas Action Team tab. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you've considered doing your programs during spring break instead of people having to worry about everything happening on one day.
So the problem with spring break is there's not a lot blooming yet. So the boom or bust for native plants is May. And when it first started, it was really telling and very informative to get folks out during the prime blooming time. Other organizations do offer activities. Greenbelt Land Trust is pretty guaranteed. They've got something going at least once a month, if not more. So I would recommend signing up for several of these other groups and see what's being offered beyond May.
Put your eyes over there.
Thank you, Molly.
So in the time that remains, we'd like to make some announcements. The coalition has 3 events coming up in the next few weeks that I want to tell you about, and then we'll see if some of our partner organization representatives would like to share any of their announcements. So as part of Natural Area Celebration Week, our Water Action Team is partnering with the Mary's Peak Group of the Sierra Club to invite you to a Mother's Day stroll along the Lamprey Creek native plants of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park. And you'll see in this graphic along the stream different sites starting back in 2015 where the Water Action Team has been doing a lot of planting. And so Dave Eckert will be leading the tour alongside a short portion of Lamprey Creek to view, to discuss, and to understand the native trees, shrubs, and herbaceous plants that support the creek ecosystem. And it's really a great opportunity to pick up some planting ideas for your own yard along the way. Registration is required for this event. So if you're interested in attending, please email Dave. The Sustainability Coalition is co-sponsoring a special 6-week-long exhibit at the Arts Center starting on May 16th that features the work of Catherine Cellarini Moore. And the exhibit is inspired by, I'm going to read this was off of their website, inspired by solar wind physics with moving images, microorganisms, landscape vignettes, and undulating light projected onto banded tapestries of chainmail to mimic aurora shapes. Now, if that doesn't pique your curiosity, I mean, I want to see what this is about. So this is going to be, the reason the Sustainability Coalition was invited to co-sponsor, it's going to be the Art Center's first zero emission exhibit. Thanks to a collaboration with students from OSU's Design for Social Impact initiative. So there's an engineering team of undergraduates that has designed, prototyped, and built the renewable energy system that's going to be a viable part of the show, and it's going to actually power the exhibit. And so, as it says on here, there's going to be on the opening day a reception from 5:30 to 7, and then a talk by the artist at 6 o'clock. So that'll be a fun one. And then our third event I wanted to mention is if you're a gardener, you know that now is the time to either start or direct seed your warm season crops, herbs, and flowers. And so the organizers of our public seed library, which is housed here at the library, are sponsoring a vegetable garden plant clinic on May 18th in the historic section of the library over on the other side. And what's going to happen is Benton County Master Gardeners are going to help people who are interested to plan their garden, select seeds that are right for you, and answer your vegetable gardening questions at this event. So you'll even get to take home some free seeds if you want, because that's what the public seed library is. It's a place where people can go and get some commercial seed packets. So, all right, I'll bet some of our partner organizations have events coming up that they would like to share. And please try to keep your announcement to about a minute or so. Yeah, Nina?
I'll walk up there. So
Okay,
turn around.
sure.
Oh, I don't want the mic. So you can't hear me? Okay. I'll do the mic.
Hi, I'm Nina. I'm with the Marys River Watershed Council. And two quick announcements, I think. One is that we're collaborating with Greenbelt Land Trust on one of the natural area events. And our usual volunteer crew are high schoolers, the Youth Watershed Council, and most of them are buried under AP tests. So if any of you love working with K through 5th grade and want to come out to Greenbelt, come find me at the back of the room and I'll see if you're interested in volunteering. It should be really fun. It's on that Saturday that's packed with events and it's like 9 to 2. So anyway, and also if you have any high schoolers in your life who love doing outdoor stuff and are interested in our Youth Watershed Council, we're taking applications. So that's it. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, April.
Every month, except in the summer, Wild Bakery offers basic sourdough baking class. There happen to be several openings for the one that's on May 11th. Outside. I would love to teach you about sourdough bread. There's also a class in June. I believe there's still some openings. If you're interested, just go to our website, Wild Yeast Corvallis.
All right, that sounds like fun. Yeah, Sheila?
I'm with the South Corvallis Food Bank, and I just wanted to remind everybody that we do welcome donations of your garden produce. And as you're planting your garden this spring, plant an extra pepper plant or tomato or whatever, and bring us the extra produce so that we can help feed the hungry of South Corvallis, because it's really important to get fresh produce into the diets.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. Susan?
Hi, I actually have two announcements. One, if anyone missed it, Annette was the host, the speaker for our 500 Women Scientists Tap Talk this past Thursday. And so if any of you missed it and want to see it, it is on our Instagram account. So please check it out. She did an excellent job. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is many of you probably know our budget for the Corvallis School District is about $5 million for this upcoming 2024-2025 year. And most of those cuts are taking place in the arts programs. So we are in the process of trying to establish an arts fundraiser for the entire Corvallis School District. It's going to be May 21st at 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Corvallis High School in the cafeteria. We'll have a student art silent auction. We're going to ask for direct donations. If anyone wants to sponsor or again, make direct donations, I have a sign up sheet here. Just please come and talk to me in the back or come sign up, and let's get this arts program funded because it's all of our future, right?
Yeah.
Get our students educated. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Susan. Yeah. Kate.
Eagle Latte Women's Choir is doing a summer solstice concert on June 21st at Tyee. And one of the things that we're doing is raising funds for our choir, which is we are going to a huge choral conference this summer. And we have created scholarships for people who couldn't afford to do that, who are part of our choir. And we will also be singing with Greenbelt on their Music on the Land. We'll be contributing to that program. So hope to see you there. We don't have an event before June, so I just wanted to let everybody know. It'll be on our website and on our Facebook page.
All right. Sounds like fun. Thank you. David.
Yeah, this Thursday night, the Mary's Peak Alliance, the Mary's Peak Sierra Club, and the Corvallis Benton Public Library is co-sponsoring a program, a webinar, the third in the Frankel series, the spring series, about Mary's Peak. And we're talking about the potential or the impending interpretation plan, and we'd like your input. Want you to hear where that interpretation plan is right now. Mary's Peak is pretty important to us as a region, and we want to know what you're interested in Mary's Peak, and what if you like what way we're going about this. And that will, if you can't watch it on, you have to pre-register, it's free. But if you can't watch it on Thursday night, you still pre-register, and within 2 days you get the recording.
Okay, thanks. We have time for one more announcement, Dave.
The city is talking about redoing Monroe Avenue. And they're going to have an open house for public input on Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock at the community center. Here's a chance to find out what they're talking about and put in your own 2 cents worth. It's really important for the public to participate in stuff like this.
All right.
This Wednesday.
Thanks, Dave.
This Wednesday, day after tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. So we hope you will stay connected and support our efforts, and there are several ways to do so. Join a coalition Google group. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Check out our website. Join an action team or committee if you're not already volunteering, or sometimes we just need some short-term help on events and that kind of thing. And then, of course, we also always welcome donation because your support truly does matter. And there are donation forms on the back of in the back of the room, or go on our website to make an online donations. And don't forget to pick up a blue bag. Is Marge still there, or did she leave?
I think she.
Okay, Bree has blue bags. All right. Now you heard from just one of our action teams today, but we have 11 additional teams, and they're working on more than 40 projects. We are so grateful to all of our action teams and our volunteers, committee members who give so generously of their time. How many of you attended the town hall at the Alumni Center this past March? Quite a few of you. Well, in closing, I just wanted to mention one of our speakers at the town hall was Rose Holdorf of Tarweed Folk School. And she shared a quote that really resonated with me, and I think with a lot of other people were touched by it as well. So I wanted to pass it along to you. When Rose and some college friends had an opportunity to talk with a farmer named David Abaz, they asked what he wished more people knew about the place where he lives, the farm where he lives. And he said, I wish more people would fall in love. If you love where you live and with what the earth provides, then it's easy to make the change. When you're in love, the things you need to do don't feel like a sacrifice. They are a joy. I love where I live. I love Corvallis, and I love our planet. So the work I do and the changes that I have made in my life don't feel like a sacrifice. They truly are a joy. And I hope you all find joy in the work that you are doing and in the sustainable lifestyle changes that you have chosen to make. So I want to thank you all for recognizing the importance of building a sustainable community and a sustainable world. We know we live at a time in human history when we are witness to the devastating impacts of human choices on our beautiful, precious planet. So I call on everybody to seize this opportunity to be part of a great transition to live lightly on our planet. And I want to thank you for being part of this effort as we make this historic shift together. So thank you so much for coming today, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the evening.